you remember when there used to be two channels on TV? Maybe you don't. I do. And then there were three, and then there were four, and that was like, wow, there are four channels. So we can start arguing about what we want to watch. Um, I was the remote control of my brother because there's when you've only got three or four channels, there's not much point in inventing something to with about 1,000 buttons on it because there's you only need four. And today there are 1,000 channels, and so we're all watching something different at the same time. In the past, if there was a big sporting event or a big political event, a news story, everybody will have seen it, and the next day everybody would be talking about it. And we were all watching the same stuff, and we were all getting the same cultural influences, if you like. And the same was for music. Every week there was, top of the pops. There was a top 10, top 20 singles came out. I think it was on Wednesday, and you would rush to the shop and buy a new single, and it was very, very exciting. And today, at any given time, if I say a word which begins with A and ends with a machine downstairs might play any song I want from any album by any artist, pop, rock, classical, anything at all, instantly, which is incredible. So this is, I mean, I think this is positive. It's a kind of an explosion of uh, possibilities. What's not to like? And it's the same with podcasts. You could ask for a podcast on literally anything, and you'll find it instantly. And then you can go for a run listening to this podcast. You can listen to it in the car. You can listen to it rather than listening to the television or the radio or music or whatever you want. And I think that's fantastic. So why did I decide to make another podcast? The reason for me is that this podcast is not about snails or different types of water or how to speak in a uh, business presentation or bicycle oils or any of those things. It's about people. So there isn't a subject. Every week, the subject changes because the person I'm speaking to changes. And because people are all unique, duh, um, the subject is unique. This conversation has never happened before because this person has never spoken to me for half an hour before. And I like the fact that after teaching English for 30 years, and especially since COVID now, it's very Zoom or Teams or whatever. And I'm sitting here and the student is there and we're having an exchange. And so you kind of get into the habit of being a bit of an interviewer, if you like, with a guest in front of you. And I thought, well, if I'm already doing this professionally, of course, for different reasons and at a different level, and I might be speaking slower, etc. Let's do it with people I've met, people I haven't met, friends, acquaintances, colleagues, people who I've heard of, people who've been um, referred to me, and hear what they've got to say. Partly because I think that this will be a very interesting archive of people alive today in 2024, what they think, what they've got to say, and hopefully I'll do many, many, many hundreds of these, and then we'll have a huge stock: Irish accents, London accents, Northern accents, funny speech, um, American accents, accents from all over the place, and possibly also some people whose first language isn't English. And then the teacher's part of me says, well, this would also be very useful for a lot of my students and maybe other people's students and anybody watching this who's learning English or has a really good level of English, but just needs to listen to something which is not politics or sport or how to make jam in your underpants or something, but it's a conversation between two people. It's not stressful. It's in a controlled environment. And you know that you're going to get more or less the same amount of time with some things the same, me, and the questioning and the way that it's kind of organized. And so you'll have something to listen to every week, which is new and fresh, and nobody will know what it's about. Not even not even me sometimes until the person pops up on the screen. So there you go. If you have any suggestions for people I could talk to, I'll be delighted. It would be very, very interesting for me to interview people who I don't already know or haven't already met, or haven't been kind of sent to me by friends, for example. That would take me out of my comfort zone as well. If you would like to be interviewed, if you've got a story, a tale, an interesting hobby, a life experiences, anything at all, if you've got something to sell, why not? As long as it's not like solar panels for the roof or something. The only criteria, you can speak English and you've got something interesting to say that we won't normally ever hear on a podcast. There you go. Thanks for listening. My name's Jim Rowlands, and tune in anytime you want because that's the way technology is today. And they drop on Thursdays. There's a video on Wednesday, and the audio is every Thursday. Have a nice day. Bye bye.